A previous hire has been unable or unwilling to perform the tasks laid before him. We have struggled to find a suitable replacement until now.
First off, a couple channel updates. We're monetized, we have a Discord server, and channel memberships are open. Since the upload of the database video, I've been kind of stressed actually. On the one hand, I've received many messages of support from not just YouTube comments, but also old friends on Steam and Discord, as well as randoms in the game. And I fully appreciate that support. You guys are in effect my only source of income now, thanks to YouTube. However, there's also a group of you that have legitimate concerns about the database, and you guys are just as valuable to this project of mine. The way I see it, there are two possibilities: the good ending and the bad ending. If I leave the database as is, I worry we'll get the bad ending, so since I dropped the last video, I've been devising plans on how to improve the database. And through brainstorming many ideas, I've come up with a way to not just expand the database, but build a functioning anti-cheat that will protect casual TF2 forevermore. First though, let's look back at the OG database and see what those concerns were. So, for this first concern, I've already taken action. The white dots on the graph here represent accounts that are being watched. If you're friends with 2 or more cheaters, you'll get watched. However, there's no mechanism to automatically remove someone. For a private database, that's fine, since my friends and I aren't using this data for malicious purposes. However, there were concerns raised about watched accounts that are no longer friends with cheaters. If they're not friends with cheaters, why publish all their past aliases? Now that we're public, I realized it wasn't appropriate to be publishing this information, so I updated the graph to hide accounts that don't qualify for being watched anymore. The data is still being collected, but it's not public. You can see all the white nodes around the green area have all disappeared. The rest of these concerns I haven't taken action on, but I plan to address in the next major version of the database. Let's have a look at suspicious accounts. When you see an account marked as sus, what does that actually mean? Could be anything from one of the database contributors getting super unlucky, or they could be having a skill issue. But on the other end of the spectrum, sometimes we find Steam groups filled with cheaters, like this one here, where we know 95% of the members are cheaters, so we mark the remaining 5% as sus. I hold a strict policy of not marking anyone as a cheater unless the person marking them sees them cheating firsthand. So if that can't be done, we default to marking as sus until someone else can confirm the suspicion. There's also the issue that, once marked as sus, there isn't a mechanism to unmark them as sus, unless someone in the server recognises the account and says they're the top AU sniper or something like that. Just got BB while he's fully invisible. I just saw the shutter and went for it. Finally, the biggest issue for a public database in my opinion, where's the evidence? Don't get me wrong, I stand behind what I display on this site, but since this was originally a private thing between friends, we weren't concerned about collecting clips, as we didn't anticipate going public. Remember, I made the decision to go public because the database was leaked. And yeah, I've learned a few lessons from that too. Since we've gone public, I've made a point to collect clips where possible, with the exception of bots because those are stupidly obvious. However, not all the members of our database group have the know-how or are able to collect clips for various reasons. With that said, I've spoken to some people who used to be a part of the cheater circles I've marked, and they've said the database has captured pretty much all the cheaters in the Australian region, with no false positives they're aware of. A few of these cheaters that I know of have turned legit, apparently, starting on fresh accounts, but I guess we'll know for sure in due course. While these concerns are all valid, and I thank those of you who've raised them, I don't think this database endeavour of mine is a failure. I've noticed 1 or 2 cheaters who previously would blatantly cheat decide to play closet for a change. Remember the cheater from the bonus clip at the end of my last video? I caught him the other night, impersonating a different friend of mine, but this time he was either not cheating or was too subtle for me to detect. His friend got auto-balanced to my team, so they eventually re-queued. And this isn't a one-off either. My friends, who were harassed by cheaters when this first blew up, are now noticing similar things in their games. This gives me hope that if I can somehow make this database thing a global effort, we can actually make a difference across the entire community. Look at that heavy gun! With those concerns in the back of my mind, I set a few requirements that the new database has to fulfill. 1. All accusations need to be backed by evidence. 2. Everyone should be able to submit evidence. 3. Evidence needs to be verified to prevent false accusations. 4. Don't let anyone be the sole arbiter of who's cheating in TF2. 5. Don't make information public unless it has to be. And 6. Make it open source so everyone can see what's going on and contribute. I brainstormed some ideas. We all know I've got my database, but because it's one database for one group of friends, it's never going to cover US servers or EU servers because we don't play in those regions. So if we want this to be global, we need to let you guys host your own databases. So my friends and I have our database, you and your friends could have yours, etc, etc. Ideally, we would have a bunch of databases that could be used to cross-reference each other. I've noticed a bunch of you in the comments have been keeping track of cheaters yourselves, and happily you've reported that my database is very consistent with what you've discovered. To make this kind of cross-checking standard, we need a way to collate all these databases together. It's honestly not hard, technically speaking. Just set up a master server that all the databases report to and aggregate the data. The hard part is deciding how to aggregate that data. How many reports does it take before a user is marked as a cheater in the master database? Master base? Let's call it the master base. There are all sorts of statistical methods that could be used, but relying on user reports is still kinda iffy, and it opens the potential for coordinated abuse. Now, when designing a program, it's not enough to look at the high-level concept. You've got to look at the user experience and make sure it works properly. Right now, in order to scan my games, I have to copy the output status command into a Discord channel. I've gotten quick at it because I've done it so many times, but I can't expect all of you to put up with that shit, especially when a bunch of other console stuff gets in between the lines and so you end up with copying something larger than what Discord can handle, so you gotta upload it as a file, and oh my god, please stop, there must be another way. Introducing Bash. Not the language, the developer. You know they're a talented software engineer when they got the furry profile picture and have been subscribed to Discord Nitro for 2 years. But in all seriousness, this guy reached out to me on Steam and I was about to reject it, like the other 200 friend requests I've gotten in the last couple weeks. Yeah! But then I saw the GitHub link. Turns out, I was talking to the person behind this TF2 bot kicker plugin. So now we're going to work together to integrate it with the database. That way you guys can solo a database using this tool, or you can link it to someone else's. I'll keep the Discord integration though, as being able to discuss cheaters outside of the game is super convenient, especially if you're on mobile. The way the tool works now is it runs as a separate app and reads the console output from your TF2 via Archon. Yes, Archon. I didn't know the TF2 client itself could be Archoned, but apparently it can. And in my experience it works. When you're in a game, you can just tab out to the application and mark someone as a bot or cheater. It's beautiful. The version that's going to be used in my application will be accessible through the Steam overlay, so you don't even have to alt-tab out of a source game. But hang on, something's missing here. It's time we talked evidence. This part was the trickiest part to figure out. What I've done with my database since the last video is allow text information to be attached to any account. Since it operates in Discord, you can put links to videos and have them embed within Discord. See this account here? One piece of evidence on record. Apparently aimlock with a shotgun on shoulder of all things. Let's have a watch.
Been captured.
This clip's pretty definitive, and you might conclude that a similar system may work for the new database, but there's a problem. If I deleted the message containing the original clip, this link would break. Not to mention video files can be huge. I use NVIDIA Shadowplay, specifically its instant replay feature, to save clips at the press of a mouse button. A 90-second clip at 1440p 60fps is 240 megabytes with the settings I use. I ain't saving that evidence on a global database. Too expensive, man. Not to mention, I used to play with G-Sync enabled, where the refresh rate of your display changes depending on how fast the game is rendering to prevent screen tearing. For my display, the frame rate could vary from 48 to 180 Hz. But Shadowplay, in its infinite wisdom, decides that all recordings should be done at 48 FPS when that's turned on. Even with G-Sync off though, that's 2 out of 3 frames that don't appear in the footage. And that's just on my computer, all these different configurations. Who knows what other inconsistencies could occur with other people's systems. I've seen footage as low as 22 FPS get submitted for evidence. That's practically useless when you're trying to determine if a flick shot is sus or not.
Whoa! Why did that?
Did you see that?
Oh, I did not.
So, video footage. Lots of challenges there. What's a way of ensuring consistency when capturing a game? I know one. Competitive leagues use it all the time. Demo recordings. Instead of capturing a raw video file, a demo file keeps track of information. Player positions, view angles, what weapons they're using, projectiles. Everything gets tracked inside this demo file. From what I've been able to gather, the demo file stores everything in packets, similar to what you receive from a server when playing, and the TF2 client interprets these in real time when you play it back. So not only can we get video footage, we have the raw data. As of writing, we've successfully worked out how to reverse engineer demo files. We've got position and view angle working so far, and that's where the anti-cheat comes in. Imagine what we can do with all this data from so many casual games. That's right, I knew I purchased an RTX 4090 for a reason.
AI!
We're gonna get some AI in this bitch and build Jensen, our cheat detector. Vac ain't doing the job, so we're gonna do it for them. Now I say AI, but machine learning is really just one way to approach this problem. There's gonna be many algorithms working together to figure out who's cheating. All that sounds good, but we don't possess the power to vac ban players. How's this going to make a difference? Well, I've seen a few people suggest, even in my own comments section, the idea of anti-bots that target and kick cheaters. This is obviously a stupid idea. I don't want any bots in my games. But you don't need bots to automate the kick process. Introducing Interceptor, the vote kick coordinator. Imagine you're in a casual game and there's a cheater on your team. Now none of you have noticed yet because it's still setup time, but as soon as those gates open, Blue's push is going to be destroyed by this aim-locking loser. However, 6 of your teammates have Mega Anti-Cheat installed, and our AI overlord has already scanned a bunch of demo recordings containing this user, determining with overwhelming confidence he's a cheater. That's when Interceptor kicks in. It can see that 6 anti-cheat users are in the game, on the cheater's team, and order their anti-cheat clients to carry out a vote kick automatically, booting him off the game. This method requires 0 human intervention, although we'll program in a few fail-safes just in case something goes wrong, like the cheater starting a vote kick right before Interceptor does. So, as of now, this is the plan going forward. First, I need to update the existing database so it's good and proper. There's lots of small things to change to bring it up to standard, like using Discord / commands. Once that's done, I'll work on the master base and set that up to receive data. Then we'll work on the desktop client and start integrating everything together. We're making good progress. Demo recordings have already been reverse engineered, and those Discord commands I mentioned, I've got the skeleton of them completed. They just needed the implementation. Once the basics are in place, we'll launch a beta test out to everyone and start collecting data. For those of you who pay for a channel membership will get special attention when it comes to bug fixing, tech support, etc. When the time comes, I'll put out a video explaining how to participate. Once we've got enough data, we'll figure out how to interpret it, and we'll publish our results on megascatterbomb.com. That will mark the official launch of the new database. Then, once everything's running smoothly, I'll look into machine learning and start training the AI on all the data we've received and see if we can produce an effective anti-cheat. We'll use conventional algorithms too for cases where AI doesn't work so well, like detecting crit hacks. And if all goes well, we'll activate Jensen, the AI part, and Interceptor, the auto-kicking part, at the same time. If the upload of my last video was D-Day, then these two systems coming online are like Fat Man and Little Boy. The bot crisis will come to an end. Many of you guys have been super enthusiastic about my efforts from the start, so here's what you can do to support our efforts. First and foremost, subscribe to the channel so you know what's going on and you don't miss any important announcements. Second, I've opened up channel memberships. Members will get privileged access to database stuff. Don't expect one-on-one tech support if you're not a channel member. I don't have time to help all of you get this installed. Also, the money will help pay for hosting. We're going to need a bit more than this piece of shit. I might even get a new microphone. Third, join the Discord. The developer channels are locked to developers obviously, but you guys can peer in and see what's going on. And if you're a channel member, you can talk to us directly.
I did not shit my pants at an Engadine Macca's in 1997. I don't know where this has come from, but stop it.
Fourth, here's our Git repo. Submit issues if you come across a bug. If you want to make a pull request, message us developers on Discord first to make sure you're not doing any redundant work. And fifth, once the tool is out, use it. We're going to need lots of data if we want this anti-cheat to work effectively, and with enough users, the Interceptor will be able to protect most casual games. More people using it, the better. Get your friends on board. I may or may not upload for a little while. I've got a couple of video ideas that aren't related to cheaters, but we'll see if I get around to those. To be honest, my main ambition in life was never to be a YouTuber. I've got other plans, bigger plans in life. But that's for the future. For now, I'll settle for ending the bot crisis. Stay tuned, we're gonna make history.
I did not shit my pants